Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm gonna be reacting to a video called Incredible Near Miss of a Child as Truck Driver Slams on Brakes. Okay, this looks a little scary to be honest. It involves a child, it's a car accident, well that's the point. It's a near miss of a child, so it wasn't something tragic, but it looks kind of scary, so I don't know. But let's check it out and comment, like and subscribe.
For da har vi litt mer oppmerksomhet om dette.
Oh, it's a school bus. It's dangerous. Oh my god.
For da har vi litt mer
Okay, yeah, I really do. It's going to go again. Okay, I'm not gonna repeat it. Maybe I need to see the slow motion of this. Yeah, okay, so nobody, this is in Norway. I don't know what the rules are in Norway, but it's kind of crazy to me that this is, the people are supposed to, kids are supposed to cross this middle of the road here. That's insane. Here, you can see it was inches. What? It's literally a couple of inches. I'm seeing the actual thing. I'm seeing the kid and I'm seeing the truck. And it's about the distance. It's about this. Literally, it's this. This is insane.
Virksomhet eller utdanning.
Latvia. Okay, so even the truck was not even from there. Okay, this was absolutely insane. I don't even know because again, and I just mentioned it. I have no idea what the rules are there, but I think my logic tells me, and I don't know if all countries apparently they do not have this, but I think the safer way to do this is I think a lot of buses, not to say probably all of them, in the U.S. when especially a school bus, because this applies I think for all buses, but obviously school buses are more important obviously because you're dealing with kids. They have the little stop sign, but the stop sign goes both ways. So it signifies both to the cars that behind you and to the ones that are beyond you that it's stop. A bus when a school bus has stopped, you can't cross, you can't pass them, you can't sort of do anything because it's dangerous. But I do not know if this is the case because obviously it's kids, so they don't really, again, you have to have a lot of leeway. I'm not that I'm blaming anyone, but I think maybe, yeah, because again, it's just, again, I don't know how things are in Norway, but this sort of, I don't know, road, I think this seems, and it's a truck was passing through. And apparently the truck was not even a Norwegian truck. So that tells me that it's just a very, it's not a residential probably area. It's sort of, a lot of kids go and, there's school buses and stuff, but not a highway, but it's just a busy road. But I don't know, my logic, and I don't know if that's the case, but yeah, my logic tells me that maybe if kids are pulling out of the bus, maybe the kids should go beyond the bus, but I don't know, maybe, I don't know, because that's the point. They got out of the bus, but they didn't walked in front of the bus, they just walked behind the bus. But I don't know that would have changed anything, because obviously the problem was when you're crossing in the lanes, right? Because you're crossing the other way. However, I do not know either, because I don't know, was there a way to stop this? I think this is what I'm going with this. So I'm trying to analyze the situation, and I don't know, because if they would have gone up front of the bus, maybe it would have been worse probably, because the truck maybe they had seen them though, right? Because I think that's part of the point. Of course, the truck didn't see them because they were behind the bus, and it was just one kid. So I don't really know, because I mean, obviously great for the driver, but I don't know, it seems kind of crazy. I would have thought maybe, the safer way is to sort of go beyond the bus and, well, not beyond, go in front of the bus, and that way cars can sort of see you. But also, I think my logic tells me maybe you should, in roads like this, maybe you should stop because there's no traffic light and there's no sidewalk or crosswalk. Nobody tells you you should cross there. So maybe I'm thinking about this wrong, and maybe it's just, no, the kids shouldn't have crossed there. Maybe that's the thing. But because it's a kid, of course that you can't. I mean, it's not an adult. It's not in all the faculties or their mental capacities. It's not there because it's a child. But that just goes to show how accidents really do happen in the blink of an eye. Because maybe the kid shouldn't have crossed there. I did notice that he was sort of running, and they were in this lane, and then he was sort of running. And I don't know if he should have run. Probably that was wrong of him. Maybe he shouldn't have done this, but I don't know about the laws, traffic laws in Norway, and obviously pedestrians, so I have no idea. But what I think happened is that the kid was actually in the wrong, maybe because he shouldn't have crossed, or maybe he should have waited, because obviously it doesn't matter in what road you are. It doesn't matter if you're in a residential area or if you're in a busy area. I think if there isn't a crosswalk and it's a traffic light, it's gonna be, how do you know when I'm supposed to cross? But if there's no anything, well, I don't know, again, my brain tells me, well, if there's nothing there, well, just look around, take a look and see both sides to see if someone's there. If there's no one there, the road is clear, okay, you can pass. But even then, maybe you should maybe stop in one lane and then see, it's crazy, right? Because this lane, I'm going back on it, and there's really nothing there. It's just a very narrow road, and it's not as if I can stop in the middle, because it's just the middle. And maybe it's more dangerous then, because I don't know, maybe some cars are wider or something. I don't know. This seems like a very dangerous road in general, so I do not know. But apparently the school buses, they do the school drop off there, so I'm probably it's not as dangerous as it seems, because again, buses do this as routine, but I'm not used to this, so this is a little wild to me. But I think incredible. Obviously, the driver, nobody knows apparently who the driver is. Maybe he was, no, I don't care. It's something that I did, but it must have been so incredibly scary. Because again, it's just you're thinking, and always a great reaction on his behalf. Apparently, he's Latvian. Well, maybe the truck is from Latvia, but he's Norwegian. I have no idea. But he must be incredibly proud of what he did, because it's gotta be easy. Obviously, I think your first instinct is to obviously put on the brakes if you see this, a child is crossing, and it's gonna grab you and you're crossing, and you're going in your lane normally in the road, and then imagine how scary it must be to see a child just crossing. Of course you're gonna slam the brakes, but sometimes it's not enough, simply because it's not about your capacity as a driver. It's just about the vehicle itself. It's just the vehicle itself doesn't have sort of a fast response, or it's fast obviously because the brakes, that's how brakes work. But especially when it comes to a truck, which I imagine, I've never driven one of these things, but I think, I think the bigger the car probably, and you have a load, and you have something, it's heavier, it's probably, the heavier it is, probably it's a little bit harder to put the brakes in and slam on the brakes, and for the actual vehicle to stop. I don't know if that's the case actually, but I am imagining it so. Because I think vehicles are, just because they're a little bit, obviously they're not that heavy, maybe it's just easier to sort of like slam the brakes and make it stop immediately. I think with a truck, it's gotta be a little bit harder, just because, I don't know, again, it's heavier and you have the load behind you. But the appropriate response, it was incredible. So maybe it's both the driver and also the vehicle itself, because again, sometimes even if you're the greatest driver ever, your visual capacity and your response, you have a response time so incredible that the minute you saw the kid, you saw the person walking and crossing the street, of course I'm going to slam in the brakes. And it didn't, well, I have no idea if he slammed, and I have no idea how brakes work in this kind of truck actually, because you have to pedal, push the pedal and put the brakes. But maybe he also did the manual brake. I have no idea, because I don't know if that's dangerous, because depending on how fast you are going, I think it's not, you can sort of slam the manual brake as well, right? You just put you have to do the manual brake, and then also you have to brake with your pedal. I mean, that stops the car immediately. Maybe, I don't know. I previously thought, no, you can't slam on the brakes because then your car sort of skittles, but maybe I'm off. I don't know. I probably should look it up, but I don't know. So maybe those kind of trucks, they have another third type of brake that's, I don't know, probably more, I don't know, safer, or just again, in emergency situations such as this, it's made for you to use this. But I don't know, the guys, I don't know what brand the truck was, or what brand the brakes are, but oh my god, saved the day, incredible. I think if I were the company, I would put this as an actual advertisement for my trucks or for my brakes. It will be, you know what? I'm manufacturing this incredible trucks with this incredible brakes that seriously, they can save you so much. This could have been so catastrophic. And I'm thinking, obviously, you're for both people, obviously for both families, both the kid's family and the truck driver itself. Because the truck driver, again, it's an accident. That's the thing. That's the lousy part about accidents. It's truly nobody's fault, but it's something that really affects both and or more people. But it's an accident, so it's not as if, oh, you can blame and you can point exactly, oh, you know, this is to blame, because that's the thing about accidents. It can happen all the time. So it's nobody's fault in the end, but you know, your lives are sort of ruined either way. So incredible. Again, you saved 2 lives, both the drivers and the kids. So amazing, incredible. Kind of want to see it again because it's just sort of, oh my god, I think I want to see a slow motion just because you can really do, you can tell. I don't know, maybe I would have loved an actual dash cam of the driver just to see. Maybe he was traumatized by the whole thing probably, and he didn't want the publicity, because I think I would feel like a hero. I would be, yes, you know what, you want to do me, you want your news report on me, yeah, please. But maybe he was no, you know what, this was a very traumatic thing, because I also imagine it would be quite traumatic, because obviously nothing bad happened, but still the adrenaline and how scary it must have been, obviously for the kid, but also for the driver. And I'm just putting myself in the shoes of the driver, just because obviously it was the person that actually had to sort of act immediately. The adrenaline rush, I think I would need to stop after this. I need to pull over because I need a break. It would be crazy. I mean, you feel great, of course, you know, you did something great today, but at the same time, I think it would be quite a traumatic experience. So maybe no, I don't want the publicity. I just want to avoid this, because this was wild, probably not in a good way, although obviously incredible, you know, the end result, incredible, yeah, but no, it was an awful thing. Hopefully I don't ever have to go through this again. Although again, you know, we're seeing it from the outside and we're thinking, oh my god, incredible, but I understand how traumatic it must have been for both the kid and the truck driver and everyone involved. Even the person that's just, you know, they're recording this that's just a third party. It must have been a traumatic experience. Everyone involved here, traumatic. I'm like, no, yeah, sure. No one wants the publicity, but this was awful and great at the same time. And that was it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.